Hi team, this is session 14 on Linux Essential series, shell scripting. Shell scripting is something very interesting because it will include all the commands and topics covered so far, all the commands which are covered. Because scripting, as you know, basically means writing something and doing it bit by bit or command by command or step by step. As we have heard of it, scripting in a drama or movie, script means whatever is given to you, you have to repeat it as given, as mentioned, exactly the way it is. That's the meaning of scripting. Therefore, shell scripting also refers to that executing the commands stored in a file one by one. So no complex topic as such if you have heard, if you have learned what we have already discussed, the commands. So basics of scripting: creating shell script, generating output, handling input, bash script example, then exit status, control structures, and conditional execution of the commands. This is what the agenda of the session is. So to start with, shell scripts. Shell scripts are text files that contain a series of commands or statements to be executed. Shell scripts are useful for automating commonly used commands. Just imagine that you have to execute 10 commands daily in the morning before you start your work on your Linux system, or you have to execute 5 commands the moment you log out, like deleting old files or temporary files, cleaning up the things, taking backup, some basic stuff. So that is the automation. And like if you want to take backup of some commands automatically daily in the night when system is on, when you are not working, then yes, you can do this automation by means of shell script, because you can simply put the commands in a script in a file and then schedule it for the execution at a given time. Performing system administration and troubleshooting also is very useful in shell scripts are very useful in performing system administration and troubleshooting. Creating simple applications. Simple applications means simple application, not complex. It's not for application development, to be precise, because you don't develop applications using shell scripting. Is yes, simple step-by-step process. If you want a simple application for your administration purpose, you can do that. Manipulation of text or files, and then application prototyping. These are some of the useful or usage of shell scripting. Now step 1, how to create a shell script. Simply use a text editor like Nano or VI editor to create a simple text file. The first line of the file is called shebang or shbang or bash bang, right? Basically shell bang that starts with a hash exclamation mark. Remember, hash exclamation mark. Simple hash without exclamation mark will be a comment. Hash exclamation mark give it a special meaning, and basically that without any space before and after, that refer to that yes, this script will be parsed or executed by bash shell. And then you can put your comments, everything with start with a hash sign. Create shell scripts which are self-documenting. Self-documenting means with the person, if anybody open your shell script, he should be able to understand what you have created, what you have done in this. If you enter this by pressing slash key followed by enter key on the most keyboard, this will enable you to enter one command that spans multiple lines. Sometimes the commands become quite big and it is so long that you cannot complete the command in one line. So you want to continue the command in the second line. In that case, you can use the slash or this backslash for that purpose. So this slash basically on a line will allow you to put the commands to continue the command in the next line. Second step is change the mode, make it executable. Whatever name you have given, make it executable. We have done this. A means all users, plus means add, X means execute permissions. So add execute permission for all users. That's the meaning of this. So we make it executable. To execute the shell script, you can put the script in the executable path or you can simply give the relative path of the script starting from dot. Even if it is in the current directory, current directory is represented by dot, so you have to specify the current relative path of the script where it is located to execute the script, and then you can execute it. Generating output, use echo command to generate the output, as we have already done. Echo followed by the message whatever you want to type. If you type -n, it will suppress the next line and it will continue asking in the same line, otherwise the cursor will be dropped to the next line. And you can use printf to generate the formatted output if you have, and you have variables also. This syntax is similar to C language. If you have learned C language, if you know C language, this is similar to C, because we call it as placeholder. %to 0.2 f, percent followed by 0. This is decimal places, left hand side of decimal places, and then right hand side of the decimal places. This so 2 indicates that 2 decimal places will be allowed, and f stands for floating point or the decimal points. /n represent the new line character. So the result is %to f /n, then within quotes close, and then variable name. Up to here whatever I discussed, let's take a look at the steps done and let's try them directly. Let's start. I'm sharing my screen to demonstrate whatever I have done so far, so that you see practically how it works. So here my system is. Now this is the terminal. So if you look at, I'm going to open my first shell script. Let's try vi. Let me find out if we have existing script ls star.sh. Yes, we have it. So vi my script .sh, and this is a simple example. This is the first line, as I said, shebang hash exclamation mark followed by /bin/bash, which says that my shell script is shell bash will be used to parse or to execute the commands given in the shell. And then you can keep as many lines as you want blank, and this is a comment. Comment starts with a hash, and I repeat, hash followed by exclamation mark has a special meaning. Other than that, it is a comment. It will not be parsed, it will not be executed by the shell, and it will be ignored. Echo command, this is our first shell script, the message we give, and the date command, make directory, ls command, whatever commands you have done, you can execute those commands, right? Like if I want take a variable, alright, if I take a variable here, let's say name is equal to, and I put some value Ram and Sangwan, and I can use this echo hello followed by double quotation mark, and then echo. I want to use -n so that my cursor remains in the same line. Echo -n and echo $name. This is how we display the name. Basically, I want to show you here, if you use echo followed by -n, the cursor will remain after hello and followed by a space, and then after that next command will be executed, that is $name will be displayed. Second example was salary. Let's say take salary is equal to 562.8948. alright, and I want to display it. Printf, that was another statement which was given here. Printf, the current salary is here, the %sign placeholder, %sign 0. Let's say 3f, means 3 decimal places, followed by next line is /n, and then I type variable name $salary. So these are examples which I put the command. I just want to show you we can simply put the commands like this. So this is a variable $salary. Whatever the value of the salary, this will go to the placeholder. This is the placeholder. %03F, 3 places after the decimal sign. Is it a decimal value? Current salary is, alright. And /n will, after the printing this value, it will take you to the next line. So these are 2-3 examples of displaying values, and this script, let's execute it one by one. It will execute all the commands given in this. So we need to change the permission. chmod A means for all users, plus X means make it executable, and my script .sh. And now either I move it to the bin directory, because I have a variable path which will tell you that if you move it to root/bin, it will be available in the path and you can directly execute it. Either I move this script to the bin folder under this, or I give this relative path ./myscript.sh. So this will execute all the commands given in the script. The first was hey, we are executing the echo command. That was the output of the echo command. Second was the date command. Third was the mkdir. It was not able to execute the command because the directory already existed. And next was a hello followed by another command, but before this, in hello, when I was printing hello, I give echo -n. -n means the next line will be printed, next command will be printed in the same line. So hello Raman Sangwan is the name of the variable, and current salary is, now you see I gave 3 decimal places, so I got the 3 digits after the decimal places. Alright, so this is a simple way. Another way of executing the same is that you move it to bin directory, myscript.sh and bin/. Okay, bin is not a directory, so let's create it, mkdir bin, and now move it. Now it is moved. Let's look at what is there in the bin folder. We have that in the bin folder, and this, since it is there already there in the bin, is already there in the path /root/bin, so I can directly type myscript.sh now. myscript .sh. It will execute it. Why? Because it is there in the executable path. So either the executable file or the script should be in executable path, or you have to type relative path. So if you go to bin folder now and see, the file is there, and you can execute it from here also by typing relative path, as I discussed, as I explained earlier, ./myscript.sh, and now it will execute here, and it will create the directory mkdir, my directory 1 here, because you have executed from the current directory. So that is a very tricky situation. So scripting is not at all difficult. If you have understood all the commands discussed till now, you can use all of those commands in the shell script, and you can dump whatever commands you want to in the shell script. So we have done this part, shell, generating output and printing the values. Handling input. If you want to take value from the user as an input, you can use echo followed by the message, which will display a message to the user, and then read will ask you to enter a value, user to type some name or some value, and then it will put that value in that variable, whatever is specified by read variable name, like this. So read reads from standard input and assign one word to each of the variable you have supplied. Any leftover words are assigned to the last variable. I will demonstrate what is the meaning of this statement. Any leftover words are assigned to the last variable. A word is defined by a character string surrounded by a white space such as space and tabs. It can be changed by interfield separator IFS. If there is no more words than a variable, the last variable is assigned all the remaining words. We'll take a look at this also. and this is the example which I will demonstrate to explain this. Echo hyphen n read name first and last, and read is the statement first last. So whatever you type, first variable will go, first value will go to this variable, second will go to the third variable. If you type three different words, then second and third, all other words will go to last. And then you can use printf statement to display the value first followed by last. This slash, as I said, basically means that you want to continue in the next line. So let's take a look at these examples and let's understand this example as well, the way we have understood the previous example. So here we are. Let's take a look. Let's open this first script. VI script 1. So script 2 is for that purpose. Echo hyphen n read first last. Again I want to put a comment here, so I can write a shell script to accept full name and display it with proper message. This is how you can put the comment, and it is better to give space before and after the comment so that it is readable for you. There's no harm in putting space, extra space. So echo hyphen n enter name first last, read first and last, enter your name. Now here basically I want to continue in the same line, so because my line I have sufficient space. Had it not been the case, then what I would have done is I would have placed space bar key followed by slash, and then I would have given this first and last. That is the continuation, line continuation. Sometimes this slash is only for the purpose of line continuation. If you have any space, then you don't need to this slash, and you can put it in the same line. So let's save and execute it. Chmod. You can also use 755. Read and execute, and all permissions for the user. 755 script2 .sh, and now you can execute script2 .sh. Enter your name, or enter the first name and last name. Now I'm going to type complete name, 3 words. So what will happen is first word Ram will go to the first variable, and second and third remaining, as I said, will go to the last. So that's why your first name is Ram and your last name is Nivas. Your first name is Sangwan and your last name is. So this is basically, let's take a look at once again, open this script once again. That is because you have used, one second, first name is this and last name is first and last. Alright, why it is displaying this way? Because you are using printf statement. Printf statement will not combine this. However, if you use echo command, let's use echo command. Echo followed by your first name, last name. In that case, you don't require this %s. That is interesting observation. So first your name is, now here if I type first and last, and then the meaning what I suggested was correct, and it will work this way. So Ram Nivas Sangwan, and this is what I was suggesting. The first value will go to the first variable, second and third will go to last. But this is not applicable when you use printf statement, and that is what you observed carefully. I hope you remember that, you recollect that. If you use printf, then the meaning is different. Your first name is now the placeholder for this plus %s, and last name is %s. Alright, and this way it will use only the words separated by space. Ram Nivas Sangwan. So here it is. Your first name is, so basically it is using the buffer, it is taking the values from the buffer, and that's what is very interesting. So first name is Sangwan, last name is this. So behavior is unpredictable if you are using printf statement, because printf statement requires some values in the buffer. So for that you need to clear the buffers. There's a printf statement is taken from C language. So if you are using printf, then behavior will be unexpected, unpredictable. Your first name is Ram, last name is Sangwan, or last name is Nivas. But what about the leftover words? So that will create problem for you, because you are seeing the same statement twice. Your first name is Sangwan and last name is this, if you are using printf statements. So better to avoid it. Alright, so use echo command if you are expecting a right value, because you have to observe printf statement behavior is slightly different than echo statement, and that's interesting observation. You should I'm sure you have made this observation. Bin bash, this is another -p, enter several values, value 1, value 2, value 3, and echo command, as we have learned, we have already done. Value 1 is first variable, second variable, third variable, and you can see that whatever values you have typed, if more than 3 values if you have typed, the last or leftover value will go to the third variable. Exit status, commands exit with an exit status. Basically that is represented by $? variable. Whenever you give any command, it will have an exit status which will be stored into the variable $? And anything non-zero value means it is failed, the command is failed. Let's take a look at this example as well, because it is better to see everything with example, that will make it clear. So here if I type something which is not a command, there is no such command, that means that command failed. I can say for sure. And how to verify? Echo $? So this is non-zero value. This means the command fails. However, if you type ls, a successful command, and then try echo $? You will see 0 value. Simple. For example, I just type clear command. So what is the exit status of the clear command? I can check the value of $? So it is 0. But if type no such command, you know that there is no such command. And if you try the echo exit status of this command, you will see non-zero value. So exit status means the command exited successfully or it failed. If you get non-zero value of this $? That means the command failed. If you get 0 value of $? variable, that means command was successful. And we use this in the scripts often to verify, to return the exit status of the command, whether the command exited successfully or not. In shell script it makes sense, because sometimes the script is called by another script, and you may execute the second script based on the successful execution of the previous statement. So exit status make a lot of sense actually. Control structures. When we say programming, till now whatever we have done sequential execution of statements. Programming term, it can be explained with 3 control structures: sequence, selection, and iteration. There is no fourth construct. Sequence means sequential execution of the statements as you type them, the way we have done. We have typed multiple statements, all the commands were executed one by one. That is called control, sequential execution or sequence. Selection means you want to execute some command based on the condition. If the condition is true, then execute this. If the condition is not true, then don't execute it, and then we call it as conditional execution. Third is the iteration. When you want to repeat some statements or you want to repeat some commands. Let's take a look at this first example, and then I'll explain, because it will be better for you to understand. And a good thing about this is to understand with your own bash script. If you remember, let's open .bash underscore profile. This is nothing but a script, and it is a special script which is executed the moment you log in. We call it as login script. So the script which is executed at the time of login is called login script, and .bash underscore profile is one such script. Now there's nothing complicated in this script except these 3 lines. Look at these 3 lines. These are very interesting lines. It says if, means if the condition given in square bracket is true, then execute what is given before fi. Fi is closure of this if statement. Fi, right? Now what is given in the square bracket starts here and it closes here. So what is given here is, look at it, -f tilde symbol dot bash rc, tilde symbol slash dot bash rc, means in your home directory, because tilde symbol represents the home directory. If in your home directory there is a file with the name .bash rc, if that file exists, then execute that. We call it as execute or source. Dot means the source, followed by space, followed by the file name. So dot, you could have written source also here, source space followed by the file name, means call that file here, put all the commands given in the file here. The meaning is this. Alright, so if this file exists, then execute it here. If not, then okay. Simple meaning is this, no confusion. So look at this then. If you want to put then in the same line, you have to put a semicolon, which means the completion of the previous command, followed by space, followed by another command. If you don't want to put semicolon, then what you have to do is you have to put this line into the next, then you have to put this word then in the next line. This is also correct. I repeat, if followed by condition, then the commands which you want to execute here. Now this then is in the next line. If I want to put then in the same line, I have to put semicolon and then space. If not, I can put it in the second line and there is no problem, and it is okay. So both this is also okay if I put it like this, and this fi means completion, or the command is completed, though if conditional execution is complete now. So that was the conditional execution of the statements. Where is the statement? This is the statement. What is this statement? This is executing the contents of a file .bash rc. Alright, and rest is all okay. You can see that this is a comment, this is a variable setting, appending, and this is another command which we have done. So this is simple example of if statement. Let's take a look at another example, vi.bash rc, bash rc, because this is the file which is called from this. What this command is doing? This is executing simple commands. Les command, les rm -i, les cp cp-i, les mv, means it is creating aliases of the commands. And this is another command. If this file exists, -f etc bash rc, then same process here also. Now this script is calling another script from etc bash rc. So if this script exists, if this file exists, then execute it, because dot followed by space means source that file here, execute that file here, execute the commands given in the file here. So let's go and check this file also. vi/etc/bash rc, and this is the script which is actually executed. And look at this conditional commands here. If, then this is the condition, then another if condition, this is another command, then this is case statement. This is also conditional execution, and this is better conditional execution because it gives you multiple options. Like this is first condition, this is second condition, and this is third condition. So if condition 1 is true, then execute all this bunch of statements. If this condition is false and this second condition is true, then execute this whole bunch of statements. Alright, this is also conditional execution, nothing else. And rest, these are comments from here to here, these are all the comments. And this is a normal if statement, completed here, closed here. This is another if statement. So what you see is conditional execution of many statements, and many shell scripts are created which are executed the moment you log in. And that's a good thing, that yes, you have so many shell scripts which are executed after we log into the system. So sequential structure, what we have done, selection, we have just seen that in action, if else, else if, and conditional operators. And repetition is the loop, where we have for loop, while loop, and until loop, which we will discuss in the next session. First is the conditional execution. Commands may be executed conditionally based on the exit status of the previous command. Now, for example, this is the operator double ampersand sign. Whatever command is given on the right hand side will be executed if the command on the left hand side is successful. Right hand side of this operator will be executed only if the command given on the left hand side of this operator is successful. And this is opposite. If the command on the left hand side failed, then it will execute the command given on the right hand side, if the command on left hand side is failed. Look at this example, grep sangwan pass wd means find out the name grep sangwan from the file pass wd, and if this command failed, because I'm using a double vertical bar, if this command failed, then display this message. Means this line, this command will not be executed if this command fails. So hence, either it will display the name or it will not do anything. It will display the message that no such user sangwan. Let's look at what am I trying to say here. Look at with example. Very interesting commands. Grep sangwan /etc/pass wd, and then double vertical bar echo no such user here, right? Now either it will display the username sangwan. If the user does not exist in this file, if the command failed, then you will get this message. So let's try. We got user sangwan, but I type something now different here. I typing a spelling mistake, and I know this user does not exist, right? And then I'm getting, if this now, because I've typed a different name which does not exist, so then I get the output, this no such user here. I got the right output. So if the command on the left hand side is successful, alright, this is not executed. Command on the right hand side is not executed. This is not executed now, alright. But if the command on the left hand side failed, in this case it will fail because there is no such user with this name, then this command will be executed. So we call it as conditional execution. Had I write ampersand sign, look at this, okay, ampersand, and I'm searching for sangwan, the user found, because now I'm printing it user found, because I want to execute it on the successful execution of the previous command. User is found, alright. This is called successful execution. This command will be executed if the command on the right hand side on the left hand side is successful. So it will execute both the commands. So it display the name and it display the message also, user is found, alright. So double ampersand means successful execution. If the command on the right hand side is successfully executed, then whatever is given on the left hand side will be executed. Sorry, if the command on the left hand side is successful, then whatever is given on the right hand side will be executed. That is the conditional execution. Like this, cp copy all the files from temp folder to this. Once it is done, echo done. So it will type done word, alright. But this is only single command, because this cannot be done for multiple commands. For multiple command you have to use if construct, if condition, then do something, whatever command you want to give. Point to be noted here is the space here. There must be a space here, there must be a space here. You have to be very particular about it. Before and after the condition there has to be a space. So it is mandatory. There has to be a space here also. That's mandatory. So you cannot if you give without space, then it will result into error and the command will not be executed. Very important point. If condition, before and after the condition there has to be space. And as I said, if you want to write this then in the next line, you can write it, then in that case semicolon is not mandatory. However, if you want to put it in the same line, you have to put a semicolon here. I just demonstrated also. Now some test. If you look at in our script dot bash underscore profile, -f was used. Basically -f followed by a file name with path that was used. What is the meaning? It will test if the file exists and if it is a regular file. Had you there are other operators like -d. It is test to see if the file exists and if it is a directory. -x will see if the file exists and if it is executable. For example, as I demonstrated in my example also, -f followed by this file. If this file exists, then source this file. I told you that dot followed by space or source followed by space and then a file name. So execute the command given in that, and fi means closure of that. If statement started from there and executed here. Why this indentation? Why we have used indentation here? The commands are indented to the left hand side, to the right hand side, whereas if have exactly fi just below this in the same indentation at the same level, because it increase the readability. You understand that okay, my if statement starts here and it is completing here, it is closing here, and we indent rest of the command to the right hand side so that it keeps you keep the command readable, it keeps the file readable. There is no other purpose. There are so many other tests also. -d, it is a directory. -e, file exists. -f, a regular file and it exists. H, symbolic link. -uppercase L, symbolic link. R, readable by you. S, not empty, file exists and not empty. W, writable for you. X, executable by you. -o, effectively owned by you. -g, group owned by you, that is group ownership. So you can type all these tests are possible on the files. Z is for string. You are checking for string. Return if the string is empty. N, return if the string is not empty. Like this equal sign, greater than sign, less than sign, greater than sign. They are not for mathematical operators. Don't use them for mathematical comparison, the number comparison. For number comparison we have different operators. For string comparison, yes, they are used. Like for example, equality sign. This is for string comparison. If the output returned by this command is successful, is equal to this 0 string, then do this, and that's what is you are logged in as root user. It display the message. So let's try this command. First thing is we need to understand echo dollar id -u. So your id will be returned by this statement. $id -u means user id. Alright, same way you can see the group id also. So this is the command which will be used. Alright, by the way, you can use if statement here also. If let's use a script itself. Why to do it here? Script 2. Let me open script 2. Alright, let's do that command here. Now if I'm going to type the same command here, square bracket followed by space, dollar id -u is equal to, there has to be a space, 0, then there has to be a space, semicolon, then Now you type the message echo you are logged in as root user, and FI means line complete share. And let's try. ID is a command. I'm wrong. Something is wrong here. ID is a command. Give me a second. I verify. Syntax you forget, and it is okay to forget that. Alright, so because you are typing a dollar sign, then it is fine, then it is good. Alright, so let's try dot script 2. You are logged in as root. Because my ID was 0, as root user I am logged in, but if I execute this command as Sang1 user or other user, I will not get any output. Why? Because this is conditional execution of the statement. So that is how you execute conditionally. You execute a statement conditionally. So here I tried $id -u is equal to 0, then you are logged in as root. This conditionally the statement was executed since I was logged in as root user. There are many such comparison operators for string, like -z string if it is empty, -n if it is not empty. So these are all string comparisons, string alphabetically sorting less than or greater than for sorting purpose. -o shell option is enabled. -expression r if it is false. And important point is this is numerical comparison. If you have numerical value, mathematical value, or numbers, then you can use operator. Operator is eq for equal to sign, ne for not equal to, lt for less than, le for less than equal to sign, gt for greater than, or ge for greater than equal to sign. So when you are using numerical values or integer values, you have to use eq, ne, lt, le, gt or ge. These arithmetic tests are applicable when you are using arithmetic operators. Alright, and that's all for this session. Thank you so much for watching.